A very good evening, viewer. You're most welcome to the NILE cast on your West Nile television, where we give you the highlights of the news bulletins of the week every Sunday from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. My name's Okumiringa Christine. Let's dive straight into the stories that made headlines throughout the week. The late Lieutenant Colonel Pius Alitema, the former Zombo District RDC, was laid to rest on the 16th of March 2024 at his ancestral home in Kijomoro Village, Nyadri Sub-County, Maracha District. Take a look.
This afternoon, hundreds of mourners thronged Kijomoro Village, Nyadri Sub-County, Maracha District to pay their last tribute to the late retired Lieutenant Colonel Pius Alitema, the former RDC Zombo District, who passed on 8th March 2024 en route to Arua Regional Referral Hospital. In his homily, the Bishop of Arua Catholic Diocese, Right Reverend Sabino Doki, has advised men and women in uniform to always be honest while exercising their duties. According to the Bishop, most armed personnel in Uganda take civilians for granted and commended the deceased for valuing God despite working in a highly ranked position in Uganda.
We may not marry. For us clergy, we have chosen not to marry. The sisters also, they have chosen not to marry. The brothers, religious. But if you are not in this category, you are free. But nobody should force you also to marry. There are also single lay people. That is also good. But the late Pius decided to marry. And marry also in church. And married Rose Aikoru, if she's there, she can stand up. Because this is the one we witness in the church. That is the one. Thank you very much for standing together with the late Pius and for working hard to bring up the children.
Meanwhile, Sharon Alitema, the firstborn of the deceased, described her late father as a hero who kept his faith and cared for one another. Sharon added that Alitema lived an honorable life and appealed to the mourners to emulate his good deeds and legacy he left behind.
Pius Alitema, to us, our dad, and I'll continuously refer to him as our dad throughout this eulogy. He was a man of mystery. And through the journey we've been on, I have been giving his life testimony in mysteries. And the last mystery I presented was on Wednesday during the Holy Mass. Was it Thursday? Thursday during the Holy Mass in Zombo. When I presented the first mystery, I said I would tell it as the last, because it would be a conclusion of who he was and what his mission was on earth.
However, Dr. Mark Boni Boamale, Zombo District Health Officer, told the mourners that late Alitema died due to low blood pressure despite being on medication for a long time.
He died of a natural death, and I want to make it simple. In a simple term, he died due to complications of low blood sugar. I'm going to explain a little. Early morning of the 8th March 2024, I was given a call by the Deputy RDC at 6:41 a.m. that she was called by the driver of the deceased, and from the call it seems the RDC is not doing well. So I immediately rushed and I said I'm going physically there to see how the situation is. So I rushed to the hospital, and luckily enough, by that time effort has already been made to deliver him to the health facility. I remember the driver told me the words he spoke were 4. Come, take me to the hospital. So when he arrived to take him to the hospital, he was unconscious. He was no longer talking. So when he reached the hospital, we did the first test. And that was the random blood sugar, because he had a history of high blood sugar. And indeed, we got the blood sugar was only 1 millimole per liter.
The late retired Lieutenant Colonel Pius Alitema had illustrious career for 68 years, and at the time of his death, he was serving as Resident District Commissioner Zombo, a position he was appointed on 5th May 2022. He started his career as a graduate teacher at Mbale SS between 1982 to 1987, and also served in the Ministry of Internal Affairs. In 1991 to 1921, he attended a number of operation courses in Uganda People's Defense Forces, UPDF. He was born on 7th October 1956, and is survived by the widow Rose Aikoro, 7 biological and adopted children. Among other dignitaries who attended the burial include General Charles Uluka, the Director General Internal Security Organization ISO, Major General Dick Lum, the Commander Operations Suja, Honorable Kuyushin Grace Freedom, the State Minister for Northern Uganda, and other security personnel. Alfred Jawok, West Nile TV, Nile Cast.
And more in our stories. Registration and update of information of NRM voters commenced on the 13th of March 2024 across the country, where the party supporters were required to move to their various villages so as to have their information captured in the party registry. In Arua City, the exercise commenced well with no cases of violence, but however the turn-up of voters for the exercise was low in most centers within the city. Farish Majid reports.
As party registrars of the villages flocked in numbers to pick the forms, Honorable Shino Rashid, the councillor in charge of Bazaar Ward, observes that the turnout of the party supporters on the first day was low, as he called upon the party cadres to come out in popularizing the exercise.
There's a lot of confusion in NRM with regards to this activity. I am sure the days being given, 4 days, to me are not going to be enough. Reason being that the low turn up, and also how these people are registering is not really considering their skills. But I am very sure if some days are to be added, we will achieve our target. But right now, the turn up is at low, completely very low. As the NRM, it will affect us. It will affect all the NRM candidates, and I want to request all NRM candidates to all come out to do mobilization.
Similarly, at Tikulaki, a register station that the police cell in Arua City also confirms the low turnout at his center, which he attributes to the transfers of the police officers.
I've registered like some 4 people, but majority of these people in the offices, I know them. I even know them. They're telling me they still have their IDs when they come. This list here, there are some names we have. They registered last time, but now, since when police cell, majority of them, they have been transferred. So, and there are some people, they are, in fact, they are above 18, but right now they don't have their IDs. So those are the challenges like this. Most people have no IDs, and somewhere outside now, I have to go, like, I'm trying to put their names back here. So, that's here, there's nothing bad.
Tibo Muhammad Salim, the NRM chairperson in charge of Central Division in Arua City, says that the exercise began well as he appeals to the party supporters to embrace going for registration and update.
We are doing exercise which started yesterday. The registrars went through training, and today they have started the registration. It will take us up to 17th. So we are asking people, NRM members, to come on the register within these 4 days. So this is what I can tell you. We have our members who has a morale, who are coming to register, and the registration will be okay. It has started goodly. People have picked the registration books yesterday, and today they are finishing now. So others have started now the registration.
Joyce Amaguru, Arua City National Resistance Movement Party chairperson, urges the party registrars to ensure doing their work effectively.
I would like to urge our registrars at all levels to do their work diligently and seriously, because they are working for their party, which is a mass party, and it has members, so many members, and in doing this work they are actually promoting the party.
Amagru also cautions politicians against jeopardizing the operations of the registrars during the process.
I am aware of the fact that there are many leaders who would like to eye the flag at the various levels, political offices, for political offices. I want to call upon all leaders, political leaders who would like to hold this flag, that the best you can do right now is just to go and whip the members of the community who are members of NRM to go and register.
The 5 days exercise seeks to update information about the old voters and also aims to identify the new voters of the party, and will run till the 17th of March 2024 at the various stations within the villages. Farish Majid, West Nile TV, Nilcast.
And more in our stories, Greater Nebi Muslims have joined the rest of the world in the beginning of the holy month of Ramadan on the 11th of March 2024, during which the Muslims take a moment to reflect and renew their faith. Honorable Hashim Suleiman, then Member of Parliament for Nebi Municipality, urged the Muslims to find peace during this Ramadan season, as Allah eases Muslims' hardship and brings peace and prosperity to all who seek them. Take a look.
As many Ugandans join the rest of the world to extend their best wishes to Muslim communities on the beginning of the holy month of Ramadan, which started today. Muslim believers in Greater Nebi have been told to reflect on their faith, to forgive each other. Ramadan is the festive month during which Muslims around the globe reflect on and renew their faith. Muslims honor each day of Ramadan as a day of patience, endurance through fasting, and each night as a night of gratitude through prayers. Ramadan is also a month of giving, as Muslims reach out to assist those afflicted by hunger, poverty. Hashim Suleiman, Member of Parliament, Nebi Municipality, reminded the Muslims that this is the month to repent from our wrongdoings and sins. He urges that all Muslims must find peace on this Ramadan, as he wishes happy Ramadan to every Muslim, adding that may Allah ease Muslims' hardships and shower them with lots of peace and prosperity during this holy month of Ramadan.
In our calendar, and I pray that they should prepare themselves spiritually. And you know, this is a month somebody really dedicates his life to God. You leave very many things, including food during daytime. You don't eat, you don't drink, you don't do anything. You're not supposed to do anything evil. You're not supposed to do anything evil at a bit, you know. You're not supposed to. You're supposed to repent, to always be repenting to God, to really forgive you for whatever you have done for the whole year. So I encourage the Muslims to embrace the fasting month. It has come, and it will take 30 days, even 30 days. Then after the 30, sometimes it can take 29 days. It follows the moon, how it moves. Some of the months are 29 days, some of the months are 30 days. That is for Muslims. Like in February for us, we have 28, 29, but for Muslims in a year, you'll find that it may go to 30 or 29, and nobody knows it. Nobody knows it, it's only God who knows it. And you come to know it when now the moon is being counted, because they have the gadgets of counting the moon. 1, 2, 3, 4, up to 29 or 30. So I pray that for these 29 days or 30 days, please, give yourself to God. Give yourself to God. You never know. You may be forgiven of whatever you did in the past. 1 year you have been in this land, on this earth, and we are all sinners. We should remind ourselves we are all sinners. When the specific time comes for you to try to repent, do it. When will you do it then?
Abdul Karim, a Muslim believer in Pakwach district, narrated how useful this period is for all Muslim communities. He added that this holy month of Ramadan should strengthen their faith.
Ramadan ke wama pirete na rot Mungu ulonde kimbipa umati Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Memi ke iwa ipero pa kisa pare ene Mungu ni kumdano mako ube kukare na minwango pero madupa dupa ini duma ini. Odi na Ramadan ke kupero dupa. Ramadan dusu dupa dano ai time maber e game rusu dupe di seke shemi ka shemi di majmad ai ni fitri inwango nangano yidong makumi dubu pei kumi chalo yakin mokere aya wana be kwa dano seke mutie ka wonenu ka Islam wada wan wa shokura wa meku kare maber wa kwa mekura wa vasai msaima eni kutunywa chel yen beru iye tufa ekonyo amane biu ketwadi nwangu kude jana kwa Mungu.
However, Aisha Zubeda, a Muslim believer in Paidatan Council Zombo district, noted that this year's Ramadan has come amidst financial challenges, but pray to Allah to grant them blessings as they start fasting today. The holy month of Ramadan starts when the moon is sighted in the Islamic calendar that ushers into Eid al-Fitr. Alfred Jawok, West Nile TV, Nile Cast.
And more in our stories, a total of 100 teachers from the selected schools within the West Nile region underwent a 5-day training in information and communication skills at National Teachers College, Muni in Arua City. The teachers who are receiving the competence-based training have been urged to embrace the teachers under the Teachers Policy 2019, under which they are prepared for the changes in education. Farish Majid has more.
Teachers across West Nile sub-region have been asked to embrace and adapt to reforms in the education sector so as to ensure relevance with the changes within the sector. Among the changes which the teachers have to embrace is the continuous professional development strategy under the Teacher Policy of 2019, which among others calls for literacy in information communication and technology of the teachers. Ali Daisy Filiam, the Principal National Teachers College Muni, appeals to teachers to embrace the changes so as to realize improvement in the performance of the learners from the region.
That have come in the education sector. These reforms are touching us in one way or another, either negatively or positively, but the reforms are for a good cause. Because all of us, the teaching fraternity, we are looking forward to see the performance of the learners that we must improve. And how will this performance improve? The performance will only improve if we continue to have positive reforms and see that these reforms are being embraced by the teacher trainees, and the learners benefit out of it.
However, Lucy Ezaru, who works as an education officer for Arua City in charge of administration for Ivo Division, calls upon schools to embrace the technology so as to bridge the gaps in the teacher-learner ratio, which is as a result of the overwhelming enrollment.
Increasing the students' enrollment, we cannot take these enrollments back home because you are aware that the government is also behind us. If we tell the teachers when the enrollment is big, especially recently on Kaparanga Primary was facing a challenge with overwhelming enrollment, the teacher was coming to us and I sent these pupils back home. We said no, you cannot send them back home, but use your brain to ensure that the children continue to learn in the classroom. So while I was singing from the bottom of my heart that when these teachers gain this knowledge, we can rather guide the teachers to maneuver the resources within to ensure that the teaching and learning is a continuous process instead of sending our children back home.
Senior Superintendent of Police Dennis Ochama, the Deputy Regional Police Commander for West Nile Sub-Region, appeals to the teachers to expand their knowledge through the use of ICT.
To enhance our knowledge. As a teacher, you must be knowledgeable than the person you are going to teach, such that questions that arise, you are able to answer them articulately. The knowledge of ICT, I know the country has evolved. We are now living in that analog. We are now in digital world. And most of us here, if I may ask by a show of hands, we must be having smartphones. But the purpose for that smartphone, maybe some of you are using them for receiving calls only. But this is ICT.
Charles Ichogor, the Arua Resident City Commissioner, urges teachers to get the knowledge of ICT so as to tap into the opportunities in the forthcoming government programs.
They want people to apply for jobs. Temporal jobs, not permanent. Temporal jobs to count the people, to be parish supervisors, something like that. And the applications are very few. Because it must be through ICT and you must have a smartphone. Census this year will be digitalized. You see the advantages. Equally, NIRA, we are going to renew your national IDs. And for those who have come of age will get new ones. They equally want people to apply using ICT, and we should have a smartphone.
To bridge the gap of illiteracy of ICT among teachers, National Teachers College Moon on the 12th of March 2024 rolled out 5 days training of 100 teachers in ICT and competence-based training from selected areas across West Nile sub-region. Farish Majid, West Nile TV, Nilcast.
And more in our stories, the cabinet members of the Luke Barakari Cultural Institution, together with the Constitution Review Committee, reviewed the Luke Barakari Constitution and adding new feature clauses, some of which include the 5-year peaceful rotational Agofe leadership, land guidelines, and issues concerning the refugees, among others. Take a look. The cabinet members of the Luke Barakari Cultural Institution, together with the Constitutional Review Committee, agreed that only a chief that has been selected by the people of the 4 clans of Aivu, Maracha, Vura, and Terego can be selected as an Agofe of the Luke Bara people. This is among many of the new feature clauses that have been added onto the Luke Barakari Cultural Constitution, some of which include a 5-year peaceful rotational Agofe leadership, land guidelines, issues concerning refugees, among others. This was revealed during the Luke Barakari Constitution Review meeting organized by the Constitution Review Committee led by Professor Willie Ngaka in preparation for the appointment of the Agofe as the cultural institution proceeds to being gazetted by the government of Uganda. During the press briefing, Professor Willie Ngaka, the Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for Internal Affairs, stated that the Cabinet has resolved to have a 5-year rotational Agofe leadership in order to promote peace and harmony in the transition of leadership within the 4 clans of Luke Barakari Cultural Institution.
No one is going to be elected as an Agofe unless you are duly selected by members of that big clan. And the 4 clans we are now working with are Aivu, Maracha, Terego, and Vura. So now, no one who is not a chief, selected by people in charge of these big clans, the districts, is not going to be standing as an Agofe. Agofe is the paramount chief. He's in charge of all the entire tribe of Lubara. But you know, when we sang those things, there was no one paramount chief. So, but we are now coming in a new dispensation where we must have one person in charge of the entire tribe. That requires negotiations. That requires that we look for a mechanism where there must be peace. So to do that, we are resolving to have a rotational agofeship. Now, for instance, if we say Terego is going to be the one selecting Agofe, that means there's going to be a vacant position of a chief, because the current chief will automatically become Agofe, and then the people of Terego, that big clan, will fill that position. So there will be an Agofe who is a Teregian by another chief. Then after that 5 years, when they elapse, Agofe of Terego will hand over to Vura. Vura will hand over to, after like every 5 years, the position will move to another big clan, so that there is no fight. But how can an Agofe be removed? How can somebody be a chief Because now when you're already a chief, automatically you now qualify to be an agofe, because there is not going to be elections. The previous constitution was that we are going to campaign, we are going to elect agofe, which is very time consuming, it is very expensive, it brings division, it makes people fight each other. But the new constitution is that there are not going to be elections. Because by virtue of being a chief in one of these big clans, you are automatically an agofe.
Professor Willie Ngaka further stated that after the sensitization and approval of the 4 chiefs on the reviewed constitution, the Parliament Langa will be held to enact the constitution so as to proceed with the appointing of the new agofe.
We believe might be on the 30th of this month, we want to invite, currently we now have 4 chiefs, the heads of those big clans. They need to be sensitized. The entire cabinet will sit here, will also bring the 4 chiefs, take them page by page. And when they're okay with that, we will now set a date for what we call Langa. Langa is the parliament of the Lubara cultural government. They will now come and enact this constitution, and they will now select one of those 4 chiefs to take over, and then we kick off our process to be gazetted by the government.
Right Honorable Toko Ismail, the Prime Minister for Lugbarakari, thanked the Cabinet and the Constitution Review Committee for filling in the gaps that were in the Constitution, saying that this reviewed Constitution is worth depending on.
It has been a very difficult moment in Lugbarakari because of the Constitution that had a lot of gaps. And I want to thank the committee here for filling those gaps. And it's almost now a constitution that is worth depending on. But this generally will be approved by Langa and the chiefs, because what the cabinet has done through the Constitutional Review Committee is to improve on the issues in the constitution. The Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development, which is the major ministry, the mother ministry, is now putting a bit of pressure on us to ensure that the presidential plea that all cultural institutions should benefit from the government to the tune of 60 million Uganda shillings a month is what is actually making the process now to go a little bit faster. We are working around the clock to ensure that this is understandable, well done for the Lugara people. Because at times for us things are, you bring in an idea, you tell people this is what we want to do. Somebody somewhere will ask, will it work or does it work? No, those kind of delays are a bit hectic for us. But I'm very happy that we have a very, very prominent cabinet that is working very hard to ensure that the process is completed within the given time.
The position of the Agofe fell vacant following the death of His Highness Jackson Avutia III on the 3rd of January 2023, bringing disunity among the Lugbara people as the leaders have been struggling to get a new Agofe to head the institution. The reviewed Lugbarakari constitution, which has been approved by cabinet, is set to be presented before the Parliament Langa for enactment so as to proceed with the appointment of the new Agofe and the Lugbarakari Cultural Institution gazetted by the government of Uganda. Okumuringa Christine, for West Nile Television, Nilecast. And more in our stories. During the International Women's Day celebration in Rhino Camp Refugee Settlement in Katiku Parish, Oriama Sub-County, Tergo East Constituency, Tergo District, leaders decried of the issues of high rate of gender-based violence in the district. Osuta Yusuf reports.
According to the statistics we obtained, gender-based violence cases amongst the refugees and host communities are so high, with 334 cases registered last year, 2023, out of which 263 victims were women, 16 were men, 55 were children under 18 years of age, and so far 48 cases have been registered this year, 2024. The Oriama Sub-County LC3 Chairman Honorable Okot Erema Vincent agitated for women empowerment through leadership, but he cautioned them against being abusers of powers which are entrusted in their hands.
We pray that women take more leadership. But when you are also given the opportunity to be in leadership, you should also reflect the real character of a woman. There are some kind of leaders, you give them leadership, you give them positions, again they don't perform, they are abused in the state. So can we really celebrate such kind of women? Instead, you are also abusing the efforts of the government in empowering leadership in your hands as women. Don't only invite us to come and see what you can do. Tell us what men can do, so that we take home, we go and perform the duties.
Dani's Refugee Council's protection officer in charge of gender-based violence, Badaro Davis, decried the alarming teenage pregnancies both in the refugee camps and host communities.
We have a big challenge of the girls being impregnated. There is increase in teenage pregnancy in the settlement, not only in the settlement, in the host community as well. And you find the perpetrators escaping just because of the border, the porous borders. They escape, their relatives are here, the relatives sometimes take even full charge and hide these perpetrators. That is one challenge we have noted as partners as we implement. And then secondly, the women who invest in farming and those who go to fetch firewood in the bush have faced challenges. I've recorded cases, especially in the GBB, I've recorded cases where women, when they go to the farmlands, which is fairly distant from their homes, face abuses from men. They intercepted, sexual abuse, and even as far as when they go to look for the water, that was noted.
UNHCR Protection Officer for Refugees, Mrs. Ornella Inomugisa, says there is a lot to be done in protecting women against gender-based violence.
When it comes to leadership, even though we have more women in leadership, there is still a gap. When it comes to financial inclusion, as you have heard, women have less access to financial services. Today, we celebrate the theme of investing in women to accelerate progress.
She also advocated for women empowerment through having access to money and family resources.
One of the ways of ensuring investing in women is women's economic empowerment. Have them accessing financial services and markets, but also controlling the resources, especially the family resources.
The Deputy Refugee Desk Officer for Arua, Jenna Loma, says the world is celebrating responsible women, but not those women who are reckless, careless, and not responsible to families and the public.
Women who are not training their children on the right path, we are not celebrating you. We are celebrating that woman who is struggling to ensure that their children grow up, their children go to school and become a better citizen tomorrow.
The woman MP for Terego District, Honorable Obiga Rose, who was guest of honor at this function, advised women not to use drugs as stress therapy.
Women, there's too much laziness, alcohol consumption, drug abuse. Even if you have what type of problems, you will never solve it by taking alcohol, by taking drugs. Think about it. Get a trustworthy friend, share with men. And women, stop walking half naked.
The woman MP also used this occasion to blast UNHCR for not paying a listening ear to them as a district when they requested for road equipments of the organization to be left for the district to maintain roads.
But remember, there was a day we had the road equipments. They were not bad. As Terego, we did everything. I went to the topmost of UNHCR. I begged them on my knees. I said, don't sell, don't auction this. Let's leave it in Terego. Allow us to compensate. You refused, totally refused. Yet you are the people who use our roads most. You refused. Why did you refuse? Now today, we don't have equipment.
Shuta Yusuf, Western Television, Nalkas.
And more in our stories, a total of 77,000 women and youths from the districts of Terego, Arua and Gulu have benefited from the Women and Youth Resilience Project, a 5-year initiative funded by the Austrian Development Agency that ran from the 1st of April 2019 to the 31st of March 2024, whose overall objective is ensuring strengthened resilience of refugees, Ugandan women, girls and youth so as to live a violence-free life. Take a look. A total of 77,000 women and youth from the districts of Terego, Arua and Gulu have benefited from the Women and Youth Resilience Project, a 5-year initiative funded by the Australian Development Agency that ran from the 1st of April 2019 to the 31st of March 2024, whose overall objective is ensuring strengthened resilience of refugees, Ugandan women, girls and youth to live a life free of violence. The project exit meeting, which took place at the White Castle Hotel in Arua City, brought together direct project beneficiaries, district and city local government officials, and development partners like the Office of the Prime Minister, UNHCR, among others, to deliberate on achievements, successes, challenges encountered during the implementation of the project and the lessons learned. Leko Vincent Jurua, a community-based facilitator, stated that the project empowered him to support his family and also to encourage the communities to desist from domestic violence.
From the time I got married, I had nothing like how I would run the family, how you need to stay in your family. But since YREP came in, I got to know what to do, how to support my family. We started talking to our community members. At least a few of the community members also changed and they are happily living with their families.
Naomi Akara, the project manager for Women and Youth Resilience Project, stated that this project has 4 result areas such as women economic empowerment, prevention of gender-based violence, response to gender-based violence, and government accountability on the relevant frameworks and laws, which are meant to create awareness about the rights of women.
Direct beneficiaries for this project are 77,000 and 68% of them are females. So this project has 4 result areas that we focus on. First one is women's economic empowerment. So we have a total of 287 VSLA groups. The third result area, which is focused on response, comprehensive response to gender-based violence. Of course, we work on all forms of GBV, and we work very closely with justice, law and order sector, which includes the court of law, the Directorate of Public Prosecution, the House, police, and other civil society organizations that work in GBV response. A fourth result area looks at government accountability, and all this is basically to create awareness about the rights and the rights of women within the different platforms.
Jabo Philiam, the LC3 chairperson of Omugo Sub-County Terego District, thanked CARE International for including the local government authorities in the implementation of the projects in the region.
I want to appreciate CARE and WARE project. In the first place, CARE did not leave us, particularly us local government, out in implementing her project in our sub-county. Whatever they have planned for the sub-county, they never left us behind, particularly the sub-county authorities. We're so grateful.
Gonza Justin, the Assistant Community Services Officer under the Office of the Prime Minister, took the opportunity to request the leaders of Omogo Parish to take advantage of the facilities established for the development of the region.
I wanted this opportunity to request the governors of the parish of Omugo leaders to please help us and talk to the hosts. It's so upset to see that we are the landlords, we are the hosts. You bring a visitor in your home, but the visitor is benefiting so much better than you. The schools have been built, they are good schools, there are good teachers there, but when we go there to supervise to see how many nationals are attending school, To your surprise, out of 1,000 population in the school, you will get only 3 host children. And at the end of the day, the refugees are the one taking on the lead, and our children are the beggars. They are the ones splitting firewood in those schools where the refugees are living.
Right Honorable Toko Samuel, the Prime Minister for Luke Barakari Culture Institution, stated that the institution is coming up with new practices to address the challenges of gender-based violence among the Luke Bara people.
When it comes to gender-based violence, it is around the sticky norms, practices and customs of the people that the chairman alluded here. We are fighting the negative ones and bringing on board positive ones. The issue of women handling land, owning it, and so on have been very difficult in the local sector, but already it is changing.
Emokol Peter John Onyango, the Terragut Deputy Resident District Commissioner, urged the people to register and update their NRM membership from the 13th to the 17th of March 2024.
Remember, 13th to 17th is a day of registering in NRM books. If you want care to continue to 2029 properly, please go and register. Those of you who are going to vote here, register in the NRM book. When you register, then you determine care to continue and you determine the peace to continue.
Charles Ikogor, the resident city commissioner Arua City, pledged to work together with the development partners to ensure project success. He further warned the briefcase non-government organizations to leave Arua City within 2 weeks or face the long arm of the law.
I want to promise to you support and care, and the people who are going to benefit, that we are going to work shoulder by shoulder to make sure that these projects are a success. What we have started as government with you will equally continue, and that's the empowerment we are talking about. There are NGOs, popularly known as briefcase NGOs. They are masquerading. They write proposals. One person writes the proposal, is the manager, is the director, is the coordinator, and the office is in the back, in the back with one computer. But they are getting money, but impact is not felt on the ground. Our intelligence is now getting those NGOs, and we are going to give them 2 weeks to quit Arua City. They can go to Terego, they can go somewhere else. If you are a briefcase, you should not be in the city, because Arua City is the renaissance of West Nile. Yes. You want to see impact that has been exhibited by Stafford and Care.
Care International Uganda has initiated the Gender Equality and Resilience Project with funding from the Australian Development Agency as a follow-up from WEREP project. Okumuringa Christine for West Nile Television, Nilecast. And more now stories. During the rollout of the National Resistance Movement Voters Update exercise in Moyo District, leaders decried of the registration of Voters Update not being online. The NRM party started the grassroots mobilization for the 2026 general elections with the update and registration of the new party members from all villages and in the country so as to ascertain the number of party members. Okumu Dominic reports.
The exercise, which officially began on the 27th of February 2024, with the training of all the District National Resistance Movement District Registrars, will climax on Sunday 17th March with village barazas in all the villages across the country with the aim of ascertaining the number of eligible voters in the party as they await for the next coming elections. Honorable Asusije Bisam, the Chairman National Resistance Movement Moyo District, who doubles as the Secretary for Finance and Production Moyo District Local Government, while rolling out the exercise at his office, said the registration of the voters and the updates are not online and cannot be done by proxy. He therefore warned those who will not be present in their villages during the exercise will not be registered, especially the new members who would like to join the party. He urged the public to embrace the exercise and should avoid manipulation during the exercise.
This is an exercise which calls upon everyone to participate. The registration is not online. The registration can't be by proxy. If you are out of the district, if you are out of your village, out of the country, or elsewhere, and you don't come, you will not be registered. I want to call upon my registrars at the village level to do what they are supposed to do.
Mr. Araku Richard, the National Resistance Movement District Registrar for Moyo, said this exercise officially begins the roadmap for 2026 general elections and urged all the public to turn up for the exercise. He also requests all those who wish to contest for political positions to register and to start mobilizations early so as to achieve the needed numbers.
And this exercise officially begins the roadmap for 2026. So we encourage everyone to participate. I call upon politicians who wish to contest in the upcoming NRM structural elections. You need to be, your name has to be available in the register. And this one is possible when you register. And if you want to garner enough votes, I request you to mobilize massively.
Mr. Edema Martin, the Sub-County Registrar, Laropi Sub-County, expects the village registrars to produce quality work and good updates while performing their duties in their various villages.
So my expectation from them is to produce quality service and good accommodation, good updates.
Mr. Mangwi Philip, the parish supervisor for Meria Ward, expects compliance and commitment from the village registrars so as to accomplish the ward in accordance with the National Resistance Movement policies.
So after the training, what I'm expecting from my village registrar is compliance, commitment to ensure that the work we are doing is fully completed in accordance to the guidelines of NRM.
The National Resistance Movement Party started ruling the country in 1986 to date and is one of the largest political parties in the country with over 10 million members. The party has now started grassroots mobilization in preparation for the 2026 general elections with the update and registration of the new party members from all the villages in the country so as to ascertain the number of party members for easy mobilization and coordination of party activities in the country. I'm Dominic Anthony Okumu for West Nile TV, Nilecast.
And more in our stories, Gulu City Council is set to turn the back street within the city into a market. This is to help accommodate the street vendors who are congesting the traffic in the streets of Gulu City. Stephen Okello reports.
Gulu City is set to bring back the controversial trade order enforcement that evicted 100 of street vendors and roadside transporters in Gulu City, July 2022.
We know there are some who are selling on road reserves, but also we allowed them to sell from there, but there was a limit that we gave them. But now they have exceeded. There are new players who have come on board, and now they are selling beyond the limit we gave them. We are not going to have this bang activity. We are going to just be requesting them to extend. We shall be showing them where they should stop. And then but now violates that the next day, we shall confiscate their items.
This time, the city is coming out with an alternative plan for these street vendors, the back street.
There's a whole back street that we have cleaned up, and people were allocated spaces in the size of 1 meter each, and they welcomed it. They were only waiting for us to clean so that they can come and begin trading. So I believe by Monday or before Monday they would have started utilizing that place. Yes, someone might ask that what about the utilities that are supposed to be there? There's still a gap there, but there are a few places we identify where our people can access some of those things.
And the majority of these street vendors are accepting to move with the city council.
We are ready to go there. Here, we get many loss because every week we get a loss here in the street. But if you are going there, at least we are comfortable.
much as others are still continuing raising concern of the hygienic condition of the space being a back street meant for utility lines.
Kunu perro ber padano bitielo achende kunu ti line mengo line meshiwe do kuja wek dano berie dum yergi wum mwiki mo ken pokar chik by dakta wan ngi chik me yot kom wek dano ber kunu dum yergi yup kunu mabe.
Betty Auluchan, the woman member of parliament for Gulu City, cautioned city leaders to ensure both security and the hygienic condition of the environment is conducive enough for these traders and their customers.
Especially these young people who sell on the street, is it on the pavement? These are people who are looking for livelihood, and in their attempt of looking for livelihood, they run away from stealing, from breaking people's what? From breaking people's doors, because they are doing some petty businesses which keep them alive.
According to Alfredo Kwan, Gulu City Mayor, this back street is a temporary space that the city is providing for these street vendors, because Gulu City is planning to upgrade most of the satellite market in the city into a modern market that will accommodate all the street vendors.
Under the urban expansion, we want to create more secondary market. Secondary markets which we are developing to a modern markets. One is the Yibi market. The Yibi market is located in La Ropeja, next to roadway crossing. We are developing it into a two-story building. And that one is going to help us because over 500 people, all lockups will be created there.
The return of this operation is due to public outcry over the congestion of the traffic in some of the major streets in the city, and some street gangs are hiding among the street vendors to organize and terrorize people. Stephen Okello for West Nile Television, Nilecast.
And that viewer marks the end of the Nilecast only on West Nile Television. Thank you always, viewers, for taking the time to be with us, from the beginning of the Nilecast to the end of the Nilecast only on West Nile Television. Please stay tuned to the rest of the subsequent programs that may follow. My name's Okumaring.